Horrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
Donald Trump said this on Truth Social. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. A massive human rights violation at a minimum is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. No, you won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. So what authority does Donald Trump have to investigate any sovereign nation? You see, that's the mindset of a narcissist. Why is the USAID federal agency on Donald Trump's and Elon Musk's radar? Did you know that the three biggest billionaires supporting Donald Trump all come from apartheid South Africa? Elon Musk of SpaceX, his net worth is about $428 billion. And he says he is a cultural Christian. He was born in Pretoria, South Africa. Peter Thiel, whose net worth is about $16 billion. He was raised an evangelical Christian, and he says he believes that Christianity is true. He's a billionaire venture capitalist who co-founded PayPal. There's a book about him by Bloomberg journalist Max Caffin called The Contrarian. And that book delves into Peter Thiel's upbringing in the 1970s. He attended Stanford University in the 1980s. Peter Thiel is on record where he defended South Africa's apartheid system to students at Stanford. He told one student during a conversation about apartheid, and I quote, he says that it works. And the third billionaire is David Sacks. His net worth is about $1.5 billion. Now, David Sacks says he's a non-observant Jew and says he is a Baal Teshuvah. He was born in Cape Town, South Africa, and he's also a co-founder of PayPal, and he's also involved with the Simpsons cartoon series. But all three are white South Africans. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, USAID has become a big deal. Most Americans have no clue about USAID. But Elon Musk does. Now get this. USAID played a crucial role in ending the racial apartheid in South Africa. Recall now, Elon Musk is South African. Now here is the response to Donald Trump from the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa.
That Donald Trump fears so much. We offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Gauri. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problem. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America. You have your own problems. Leave us alone.
In a New York Times article dated February the 3rd, 2025, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said this. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa said in a statement that his country had not seized land. Rather, he said that a law he recently signed on land expropriation struck a careful balance between using land for public good and protecting private property rights. We look forward to engaging with the Trump administration over our land reform policy and issues of bilateral interest, Mr. Ramaphosa said. Quite frankly, I wouldn't give Donald Trump the time of the day. What's happening in South Africa is South Africa's business. I've learned long ago that many Americans do not want to think things out, to weigh and conclude matters for themselves. Because if you do that, many Americans will look at you like you're crazy. You see, because all Americans are expected to think alike. We're all one big team, and that's a lie. Americans are extremely divided. I also know that many white Americans do not want black Americans to think or have an opinion. It really bothers them. They want us to listen to them, as traditionally they have been the ones issuing the orders behind the whip and doing all of the telling and telling us what we are to believe. And many black Americans and many Africans are still under their spell, afraid to think for themselves and even to speak out and to even challenge the white mindset. Now, among many white Americans, and I know that many of them become offended when this is said because they know it's the truth, white is right in their minds. I'm going to give you a classic example of something that's so stupid. I think I told this story before. I was in the workplace. It was lunchtime. And I'm sitting there and I'm peeling my banana. He's sitting there watching me. And do you know what he said? He said, "You're peeling your banana wrong." Think about that. I'm peeling my banana wrong. So what that told me was that in his mind, there's nothing that I can do that would ever be right in his mind. This is the mindset of narcissists and many white Americans. I was at a park less than a year ago, sitting at a picnic table, minding my business, reading a book. White guy walks over to me. He doesn't even know me. "What are you reading?" "What the hell? Why do you care what I'm reading?" "Well, I noticed the book that you had. I think I read that book." And what he really wanted to do, he wanted to insert himself into the equation and then begin to talk about what or how he felt about that book that I happen to be reading. But I did not allow that because I know this tactic and I know this mindset. Because if I'd allowed him to insert himself into the equation, then it would have all been about him. So I just cut him off. "Excuse me, I'm busy." And he seemed to have been offended at that. But I'm sorry, that's not my problem, that's your problem. I'm sure you guys have seen the many Karen videos of black children being in a park. They're having fun, minding their business. Along comes some white person who has a problem with them out there having fun, asking all kinds of questions as if they're in charge of that patch of dirt. It's a public park. This mindset is very prevalent, and you would have to be a black person to fully understand and appreciate how that feels. Most white people, if any, would have no clue about how that feels. To always be on edge, that some white person is going to approach you and start asking you for your slave papers, so to speak, questioning everything you do. And I'm going to tell you what's also dangerous about this mentality. It is the workplace, whether it's the private work sector or the federal work sector. When I was within the federal government, I know for a fact that I was being held back. And I'm watching my white colleagues leapfrog past me, and they had not even put in the time that I put in within the federal government. They come into the door and all of a sudden they're running things. And this is occurring as I speak. There are individuals that I know, and if you watch this video, you know who you are. You are holding high-level diplomatic positions in overseas locations that you cheated to get there. You lied and cheated to get those positions. But that's not how they will spin it. They will say that they worked hard and they earned those positions. No, you didn't. You lied, you manipulated, and you cheated yourselves into those positions. And you know that, and you know that I know that. But that's not how you're going to spin it. And you know I know that too. Yet when many white Americans insert themselves in almost everything a black person says or do, that is what I call white superiority and white supremacy. And many of them do not see themselves. Why? Because they've already told themselves that they're right and you're wrong. We can see a large example of this within Christianity, which is a white-dominated religious system. Christianity, for the most part, teaches that Jesus Christ is a white man. I've had conversations with numerous white Christians and black Christians who have been bewitched by them, who insist that Jesus is a white man. Impressing upon them, show me where that's written and then I'll believe it. But they can't. But what will they do? They themselves will conclude the matter. Well, I don't care what you think. Jesus is white. Or Jesus is God. You can't tell them anything because white is right. And that's another reason why I have no respect for Christianity. None whatsoever. It's not Christians, because I feel that Christians are, for the most part, victims themselves. They're only doing what the mother organization, that is Christianity, has told them to do and told them to believe. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what is going on there with USAID. And in connection with Elon Musk, who's a South African. He seems to be bothered by, and he's harboring this on the inside, that USAID played a crucial role in ending racial apartheid in South Africa. Why else would he be so focused on USAID and no other federal agency so far? Connect the dots. This is just a start. And I'm going to say this also. Christianity, you have unleashed the Kraken. You have released an Antichrist. Not the Antichrist. You've released an Antichrist in Donald Trump. He came out from among you. But since Christianity is largely a white supremacist organization, you're not going to admit that. But I know that many of you evangelical Christians voted for him. So now he's here. And the reason why you voted for him is because he's a white man. Secondly, because you want him to get rid of people who are not white, who are here in this country. The illegal aliens, as you call them. But it's interesting that Europeans came to this land and no one told you to get out. You just came in as if you belonged here, and you took it all over to this day. You've changed everything. You've taken it over, and now you think you can go around the world and take what you want to take. Why? Because you are white. And Christianity has been nothing but the banner that has gone before colonization. Sending your missionaries into these lands that are non-white to subdue them, to open the doors for political and military colonization. You simply pave the way. And I know who you are.